All right, so we have started, and I would like not only to invite you to next Wasteless World talk, but I would like to do it with a topic with me and Bill saw in the morning, and Jose spent some time on writing it. And it is your last post or last article, Jose, where you
Okay.
write about FUD. It was quite interesting for me because I never met this abbreviation before. I didn't know that it exists, to be honest.
Okay.
And I checked it on Wikipedia and I was quite surprised.
Is it on Wikipedia?
Yeah, it is in Wikipedia. And it's generally originally somehow connected to computers and software and similar, so even Microsoft and so on. But it's quite interesting. How did you came to this idea, Jose?
It came to me recently. Well, it was, I guess, yesterday morning or Monday night when I started thinking about the environment that we are facing now and what this may be provoking in many people. And many people may start to get aggravating what they felt during these 2 years of forced, well, almost 3 years of forced shift of course in the normal life that we had, and many people were already affected in their mental health. So many people have mental health issues. Many people that I have coached just could not bear staying in the same job due to mental health issues. About 35% of them has moved jobs. So about 40 people in more than 100 and something. But some have even left without having another job or other opportunity. So they was just completely devastated. They had no energy. They were completely fed up with either the environment, either having a boss or a manager that they could not stand anymore, or the lousy work-life balance they had, which was completely maybe 90% work and 10% sleeping or something like that. And many of them had huge stress, anxiety. They couldn't think and concentrate properly. And also maybe because many of them, and this happens because we are not taught this, which is we are not like you mostly, Michael. We don't have a strong purpose and a vision and a mission, majority of people. And when that happens, it's easy that we fall trap in all these things that the system and the context keeps throwing at us every day, every hour. If, like Bill wrote in the comments, and thank you for sharing that, Bill, because when I started investing in crypto in 2020, I was like you. Every hour I was checking the quotations, and this drives us completely crazy. So if we are just going with the anxiety of wanting to know all the time what's happening, we will be crashed. And there is no rational or logical thoughts or actions that can save us because we don't know what's happening. We just go with the flow. So we need to be able to stop and, as I wrote in the article and mentioned in the video, engage the prefrontal cortex, so this frontal part area of the brain, to counter the overactive amygdala that is ruling us just for fight or flight or survival. But there is no real danger to life. That's the issue. And we don't notice that. But we are behaving the same way as we were threatened to life in reality.
What is interesting, you use the words, we are in a flow. And generally, I don't know whether you listened to our last discussion with David, we ended with these words. We ended with the flow because it looks like, and it was the question whether flow isn't just a stream which we join to flow with the others. But you know, it's easy to somehow manipulate this mass of people in a stream because nobody wants to swim again. So I like swimming against the stream, and I did it all the time. But it's much more difficult, of course. And
yes, of course.
It is easy. So what do you think about these? I know your comment was even earlier than my comment, which is unusual, Bill. So, okay, I do understand that. You have been faster. So what do you think about the article which Jose posted in the morning?
I love the article. And I remember who was the early communist leader who said that religion is the opiate of the masses?
I think Lenin, if I'm not sure, but I think it was Lenin.
Probably.
So it is so difficult. I remember when I was raising 3 kids, and it is so difficult to go to work and try to get better at work, try to make more money, try to, that takes all of your time. But then to have to leave work, which is, and you need the work and you need a better job and you need more money because the kids need new shoes and there needs to be food on the table, and that's your responsibility. That was my responsibility. And then to go home and pick up the kids, fix dinner, help them with their homework. And for 10 or 15 years, I had this much extra energy. I could not have had this conversation 25 years ago. And I remember what it was like. So when I was in that frame of mind, I did not have time to question right or wrong, or discuss politics, or and so I went to church. I voted Republican. I did not question because I didn't have any energy left. So it's a defense mechanism. And I think that a majority of people in this world are similar to that. That is, they're trying to put food on the table. They're trying to be good people. And so to ask them to figure out big societal questions like how to get clickbait out of the media, how to make politicians honest, how to on and on and on. Can't do it. Don't have, and I'm not a stupid person. I'm a fairly intelligent person. How do people who are handicapped, either mentally or because they're immigrants and don't speak the language, or like my mother-in-law, how is that? How do they do that? And so you have to protect yourself. You have to stereotype. You have to pigeonhole. You have to, a new data point comes down and you see thousands of data points every day, and you see a new one. You can't rationalize it, figure it out, and discuss it. You have to stick it someplace so that you can understand it and get on to the next one. And so that's how that's what I was thinking of Jose, when I read the article, is this is very understandable. The big question is, the big question is, how do we as a society get beyond that? How do we learn to deal with all of the irrationality of this world? How do we figure out what's happening in Ukraine? How do we figure out anything? Because we don't have the energy or the bandwidth to do that. I'm sorry for the long answer, but it resonates with me. I read that and I so understand that.
So this morning I was in a Qigong class that I started to attend almost every day, and some thoughts came to me which were about the system or society wants that we are mostly consumers. So we consume, and also we consume energy, not only electric energy and gas and whatever, but even our own energy. But who teaches us, or how do we know how to generate and refill our own tanks, our own energy? And that's where you mentioned I almost had no energy left to this point, because we became exhausted of just following the rules that our parents told us. Yeah, go to school, university, get a job, marry kids, etc. And we stopped thinking independent and freely. And that's the issue. We just follow the earth, as Michael was saying in another way. We just go with the current goes, and we don't have enough strength to even stand up, because we go ahead, we go where the flow goes. So I think it's important, or very important, and what Michael is doing with eliminating or reducing greatly the waste. So I think it's a big waste that we mostly consume energy, our own human energy. But so we that know a bit about this, maybe it's our duty to start teaching people how to generate their own energy to take care of themselves, because their potential will be starting to blossom. If not, no seed can grow without any energy for that. What do you think?
We are speaking about a flow or stream.
Mm-hmm.
We have the image of a river or similar stream. So the first question, because we see that swimming with a stream is somehow, or let's say different. Swimming in a healthy stream will be healthy exercise. Swimming in a stream which is full of ill and dead bodies and zombies and so on will make you to zombie and dead body. So simple it is. So the question is how we stop the stream, how the nature does it. So the nature put a rock in front of the stream. At least the stream will separate in two.
Divide. Yeah.
It will divide. Is there any other way the nature used to make stream healthier? What do you think?
Historically, I'm writing a book about the Industrial Revolution in 1820s and 1830s. The average lifespan at that time was 50, 45, something like that. Now the average lifespan is 70, 75, something like that. My numbers aren't quite right, but it's quite a bit longer. And 50 or 100 years from now, the lifespan may be 90, just projecting. And there's this experiments that we talked about last week or the week before of having a 4-day week, 4-day work week. It's going on now. I'm seeing more and more articles about that. The UK and Sweden or Finland, and the productivity stays the same. So they're accomplishing as much in 4 days as traditionally we've done in 5 days, which is giving us more and more time. And it's giving us time to do exactly the same thing that we did during COVID when everybody was locked down. And that is to think about life and think about these questions. And I think the more that we can get the energy, get the bandwidth to consider this sort of question, our lives will become better exponentially. It's not 200 years ago from the Industrial Revolution. We don't have to wait another 200 years. If we start working 4 days a week instead of 5, and if we stop working around the clock and working on our computers at home whenever the boss calls and so on, I think that we will get better much more rapidly, not linear, but maybe exponentially we will get better. So I'm looking forward to 50 years from now when my grandchildren are, my age or that their lives will be so much better because we're able to ask these questions and work these questions out, and not so much time spent on the demanding, physical, repetitive. So much that happens in a factory is repetitive, stupid stuff.
Yeah.
And same and same in other work environments. We repeat the same things and we repeat the same mistakes, and it's such a waste of time. And so I'm very hopeful about the future, and I don't know if that really answers the question, but we need more time to think about things other than putting food on the table and shoes on the kids' feet. We need time to read and to discuss. That's the value of this group to me, is I think things that I would not have had the time or taken the time to think about before.
I just take shortly on your answer. I was just a few days ago, because I was ill, I was with my parents and granddad, and I spoke with him. He's 99. I spoke with him about the idea to have wasting of time as a fifth waste. He said it's right, because it's so omnipresent that we do not generally notice. This has been his word. But his his first question already surprised me. How do you define it? He saw it from the point of the teacher in a classroom. For me, if I deliver the right lecture and the kids like it and they teach, it's fine. It's not wasting of time. But there will be all the time 10 to 20% of the classroom which will be too much for them. It will be boring. It will be whatever. So for them, the same lecture will be wasting of time. So he asked me, how do you define the wasting of time? Because it will have so many perspectives, because every single of us is unique. Every need of us is unique in some way. So we have to probably define very clearly what is the wasting of time. To be the same for everyone, like the wasting itself, the remaining 4 categories are the same. We discussed with Jose, we discussed that fear is one of the wastes. And how should we, have you thought about similar question? To be honest, for me, was the first time when he asked me, when I really dive deeper into the topic, and I said, okay, it's nice to say, but it will not be so easy to find out what is really the wasting of time, same for everyone.
So we may come up with a better answer for defining the waste of time if we define it at a higher level so that people can personalize it. So I have two examples. I went for a walk on the beach today. Was that a waste of time? I did not produce anything. I did not have any eureka moments that I can write about, but was that a waste? And the other example is Boy Scouts. You guys know Boy Scouts, right? And I was in a conversation with some other fathers in the troop, and we were talking about a boy who got to the first level, tenderfoot, and then he spent a year in the Boy Scouts, then he dropped out. And they were saying, what a waste that is, because if he had stuck with it, he could become an Eagle Scout, be able to put that on your resume. It means something very strong. And I took a different point of view, and I said, that boy, we have planted a seed with that boy, and not everybody has to have the Scout experience, all crossing this lofty finish line. It is valuable to that boy who left after achieving his tenderfoot rank. That was a seed, and it's not to me to figure out how that seed will flower, but it will at some point. Something he learned, somebody he met. It was not a waste. So I revolt against the idea that simply because you don't cross some arbitrary finish line, just because you don't cross that everything that you did leading up to that was a waste. I don't accept that. So when we're defining waste, let's define it on a higher level so that somebody can say that, yes, that fits me. And so this time that I spent was not a waste. In fact, what is a waste? So for example, you said fear is a waste, and I nodded my head because, my gut says that that's true. But fear can be a very important teacher. I don't want to fear, again, some of the fears that I have felt in my life. So I changed my life so that I will never be in a position. I trusted somebody and got into a relationship, and it was awful. And I don't ever want to trust someone again in that way, or trust that sort of person. So really, was fear a waste? Or did it teach me something that will make the rest of my life more productive? I don't know. So the question that your father asked about defining waste is an excellent question. In fact, we could spend 10 of these sessions talking about it and probably still not get to the right answer. But that's a great question. So I'm not sure I know the answer to it.
So Michael, coming back to what happens in nature, I think what happens in nature is cyclical. It works in cycles. So it's spring, summer, autumn, winter. It's seeds, then that starts grow as a trunk, and then as branches and leaves, and then fruits or flowers, fruits, etc. And then the leaves start to fall. But it has ups and downs, like our heartbeat. Peak performance, it's not possible all the time. You cannot be at the top all the time. You have to go down. Even athletes, the top athletes, they need to rest, to sleep, and to have massage and other things to take care of themselves. So, and I think that we are being pushed to being always in the fast mode and the peak all the time. And that's what's killing people in terms of draining our energy. So we have no patience to wait 1 second for an app or a website to load. 1 second? Are you sure?
All of us remember when the speed of the internet was 9.6 kilobytes. All of us, all three of us in this chat, we are in a generation who was at the very beginning of internet.
Yeah.
So you
and
are,
even before the, I remember the first computer we have seen in Portugal that was popular was the ZX Sinclair or something like that. We had to load a cassette to load the game, and it took 20 minutes or something, and lots of crazy noises. But we patiently waited because the reward was after those 20 minutes. But now we want to click a button and boom, we have everything that we want. And that's not how nature works. It takes time.
you mentioned one thing. During your sentence, you said somebody or something is pushing us. Is the same something in the nature? I don't think so, because I think if we come back to the word flow, I think nature really waits and reacts. So
Yeah.
it's a reaction. It's not a proactive approach that tomorrow I will plan it. No, the nature does not plan simple. It is in the nature to utilize the existing thing or temperature or whatever. If there will be more rain, it will grow more. If there will be less, it will slow down a little bit. And that's exactly so. I think there is not this pushing element, which you have mentioned, which push on us as humans to do more, to be the best, all the best. And at the end, in the morning, I have seen quite interesting Czech sentence, and I, to be honest, I copied. Somebody wrote, ban pencils. Do you know why? Why should be pencils banned? Because they leave carbon footprint. That's so genius. And there was a picture of a pencil, and so it was really so genius that I have to copy it, the idea. And you know, this is exactly what is generally done with our minds. They are speaking about our carbon footprint. To be honest, I haven't found a single one in 10 years which calculated correctly, so I don't use these calculators and so on. Not a single one. But everybody is being pushed on a legal point of view to reduce the carbon footprint, which nobody see, nobody can touch, but everybody should be has the obligation to reduce his carbon footprint. So these are these pushing elements which are more and more virtual in the world, because the virtual thing has quite interesting aspect. You cannot touch it. You cannot complain. You cannot take it, go to the lawyer and says you are wrong, because here is this 1 kilo and it is 1 kilo and will stay 1 kilo no matter whether I am in the US or whether I'm in Europe. It's 1 kilo. It's here. But with a virtual one, it's very easy to generate, to modify the flow in a way somebody wants us to go the stream in this or this direction. It's very easy. And I think that your article reminds me, we have generally 10 minutes, okay? Well, in 10 minutes, okay. So for us is, I think, less working time is good, but at the same time, we have to learn what to do with the rest of the time. Because doing nothing is wrong. Thinking is right. Thinking and doing is even better. It's my opinion.
I agree with you. We might feel that we have too much time and don't know what to do it. And some people, I guess we talked about this some other time, that may be tempted to get another occupation, like another job or something like that, which is a bit nonsense. So the system is supposedly starting to give us opportunities to help us regenerate our energy, take care of ourselves, and we are not going to use it. It doesn't make sense, but people need to be educated, as I guess we talked again some other time, that this is a matter of educating and helping people connect with themselves, because we are completely disconnected. We are more and more being virtual, as you were saying, Michael. And also this morning, when I was thinking about the energy consumption, etc., I thought as well that waste or trash that we see accumulated in landfills, and especially India, Africa, that is a huge deposits of waste, that is energy that is completely stuck. It's non-used. So if we find ways to convert that waste into energy, which in the recycling industry, more or less it's what's happening, I guess we will all benefit. So how to convert waste into energy for humans? When we feel that we are being wasted by organizations, what can we do against a big multinational that starts shedding 10,000 or more people? It's not a surplus. For them, it's a cost, okay, but it's people. Should we just cross them off and bye-bye, now you're dead, you're no good here?
I have just prepared before this meeting, and I will share it after this meeting. I prepared a new poll, you know, my awareness polls, which I post time to time. And it is prepared with a question. What will happen if we stop wasting? What you will see first as a result?
That's such a huge question.
I am really looking for it. I do not have the answers yet. I will put there some answers because the number of spaces is limited, so I cannot put there all, but it is very interesting because I think this is the answer to your question. Because what will happen if the workers in these multinational companies will simply stop wasting? Generally, it will be probably visible that not those workers are obsolete, but their bosses are.
Yeah.
And this is what they fear most. So this is why they spread the fear among the people, as we discussed last time. And this other fear is the force to run a company. No, it's generally the force to kill the company from a long-term perspective, in fact.
Yes.
So we have 6:30 minutes. We can start after, but for this call.
So I'd like to discuss that question and that answer, maybe some other answers, again, with longer time. I'm reminded of a good friend of ours who is 90 years old. Probably could have some very good conversations with your father, Michael. What is her purpose? She has all of her mental faculties. She still drives a car. She worked for 50 years. What is her purpose in life? Her children are grown and productive. So her function as a mother, her function as a worker, her function. So what is her purpose today? And that's one of the things that we don't do well enough as a society, I think, is is we can retire people. We can build a senior center where they can go and play bingo with their friends. But what is their purpose? And as we go to a 4-day work week and a 3-day work week, and what then is our purpose if work is not our purpose? And parenting only takes 20 years. What is our purpose when all of these traditional purposes have been fulfilled? And I would like to talk about that.
Mhm.
Just one information, because we have 3 minutes 30. After we finish, I will send you a new start on the LinkedIn profile. Okay, so we can have the rest of the 20 minutes. We can have a rest for the talk, just to say. Okay.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Bill, I think that a purpose that is probably useful, but also depends on the recipient, is that people share their wisdom, knowledge, and advice and challenges with their family to educate them, to help them minimize some pitfalls that will naturally happen, and give them advice, share them with them good values, because or contribute to some cause while they still can move. Just staying in a senior home watching TV all the time, like it happens a lot in Portugal, people are just waiting to die. Being seated every day in a chair facing a screen with news about bombs and killings and natural disasters, and it only starts to plant negative thoughts that will feed negative emotions, and then they will shrink and die, because putting people on a senior home just to be seated waiting death, it's really a waste.
I think it is very similar to the answer of what is the wasting of time. The answer of this, what you ask generally, is much higher. So it's like, I call it the meaningfulness of life. It will be for every single one slightly different. It's fine.
Sure.
We should not define what meaningfulness mean. We should help them to find the meaningfulness. And this is what we finished generally last time when we spoke, that this process of finding the meaningfulness must begin in a very early age, which does not mean the current seniors should be left away. No, because they did not have this time to think, because they have processed so much, so hard, that they did not have time to think about themselves. Many of the seniors did it for their children, grandchildren, and I call them the silent warriors, because they never complain. They sit there and watch the TV.
Yeah. But
So
well, let's continue after this break.
Yeah, we have this 1 minute. So I stop the recording right now and send you in a minute the new Zoom call, okay? Thank you.